Hey, Brandon here. Welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Back behind the mic with me, my good friend and podcast co host, Jason DiRienzo of the Devy Watch. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Brandon. Really excited to be here, man. I'm excited to talk some Dynasty with you tonight.
Yeah, we're going to talk Dynasty. We're going to talk about our Dynasty sells, right? It's always hard when we have our favorite players, right, to sell them off our rosters. But if we think that's the best thing to do for our Dynasty rosters, I think that's what is a call to order. So we're going to talk about our six. We're going to each take three players in Dynasty right now that we believe are sells. And what that means is we believe maybe this time next year that their value is going to be a little less than what it is today. All right, Jason. So let's discuss our three favorite buy or our sells rather. We did our buy show that's already been posted on this website. So if you're here for the first time, go check that show out as well. But let's get right to it, man. We're going to talk about our sells. I went first last time, Jason. I'm going to hand it off to you. Who was your first Dynasty sell for the 2023 season?
My first Dynasty sell for the 2023 season is going to be Travis Kelce. One of the reasons is because that cliff is coming, man. He's
Yeah, it is.
33 going on 34. And I would rather be early while the value is still high than be late on a tight end that I could have gotten so much for with where he is right now with the value wise. So as much as it would be hurtful to your team to trade away a guy who's just been uber productive in a positional advantage, I think if you are at a point where you know you're going to be rebuilding in the next year or two, it's time to start early and take advantage of this value of Travis Kelce and what he could possibly bring in 2023. Look for a contender in your dynasty league and see if you could really pull off something where you can get a haul of picks and maybe another tight end that's going to be developmental, like a Dalton Kincaid or something like that, where you can replace him as well. It's hard to let a guy like this go, like Brandon said at the beginning, but at the same time, the last thing you want is to hold on too long and not get what you could have. So for me, Kelce's my sell.
It's funny you bring him up because I'm in one league right now where it's pretty much a rebuild, and he's really my primary asset, and I've got him
Mhm.
on the block, and I'm kind of fielding offers right now. He does me no good, especially if you're on a rebuilding team.
Yeah,
It makes no
exactly.
sense to keep him right now on your roster. If you really don't have a shot at winning a championship this year, you're stuck in the middle, or you're, like I said, you're in a rebuild. That's a great call. I mean, that goes really for any older prospect that even if you have to give up 2
Right.
years of value a little bit or 2 years of production, and one of my guys I'm going to talk about is in the kind of the same boat. But the first guy I want to talk about, my first dynasty sell right now heading into the 2023 season is Tua Tagovailoa. And not because I don't like the player. He is in a fantastic situation. He's in a great situation with a head coach that provides an explosive offense. He's got two of the best wide receivers in the game. He just got Devon A-Chain, another back out of the backfield he's going to be able to toss the ball to. This is a clear health call for me. Now, I got Tua Tagovailoa in two leagues right now that I am actively trying to shop because of one thing only, is this concussion issue. All right. So I just want you
Mhm.
to imagine you're it's the third week of the season and you're watching Miami game and he gets that hit. And all of a sudden now he's kind of like wobbling off the field and he's out for another 6 or 7 months. Um, that's my big concern with with Tua, not his game. Is he the most experienced, the best passer and the best fantasy producer? No, but I'll tell you what, if he gets like two more concussions this year, I mean, you're going to be holding an asset right now that is going to be in decline. It was pretty not very good last year. What do you have, two concussions last year?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and there were people talking about, can he continue to play and all this. So I'm in a
Right.
situation in both my leagues, just as an example, where Tua in Superflex leagues, where he is my third or fourth wide quarterback option, and right now I'm looking to move him for maybe a Daniel Jones, maybe it's a Tua plus for Daniel Jones, whatever value you feel like you can get for Tua. I'm trying to get out from under him because I am very nervous about his concussion protocol. Now he might not get a concussion, and it might be all for nothing, but right now, just ask yourself, how are you going to feel if you watch Sports Center and Tua was taken off the field on a cart, and all of a sudden everyone's like really questioning the health for his long-term career. I don't know if that's somebody I want to hold the bag on right now, and he would be my first sell going into the 2023 season.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. And it's unfortunate that we have to mix real life in with our dynasty
Yeah.
league right now. I mean, Tua has got to be concerned about his health too. I think there
Of
was a
course.
time where he was literally sitting through it, trying to figure out if he was going to retire, if it was the right thing,
Exactly.
and decided to play. And I commend him wanting to be a competitor, but something we bank on with the quarterback position is the longevity of that and what we can expect for a decade or so. I think the call on selling Tua now is a good call because I think at some point he's going to understand that his quality of life is more important, and I hope he does personally, just for
Sure.
him.
Right.
And I think it's a good idea to get out now when, in fact, that should happen, you know, being that he really should take care of himself. So I do
Right.
think that is a good call. Yeah, so my second dynasty sell is going to be Tyreek Hill, and it is the longevity of Tyreek Hill. I mean, I think he came out and even said that he might not be playing for very long. I think he said he's giving himself like 2 more years or so. Now, whether that was true or not, it tells me the mindset of a player like this, of where he sees himself in the NFL. I think right now, again, it's kind of like Travis Kelce, where if I can get max value for a player, I think that might decline or might not be available for me in the future. I'm going to try to do that now. I like to get out earlier and kick myself for maybe a year that I missed out on points, than miss out completely on that highest upside of value, which I think he's right there. I mean, it never really dropped off from the time he went from the Chiefs to the Dolphins, which is actually pretty impressive. I think a
Hmm.
lot of people probably sold him then, thinking it was going to be a decline, and it just didn't happen. But I do think Jalen Waddle's super talented. They're adding more speed to that offense, and I think the Dolphins are going to be very good. So even if you don't sell now, even in season, I think with a couple pop off games, get the most that you can. Look for a guy who's going to be competing this year for a title, and try to get the most that you can. That's my call on Hill, and that's something I'm doing myself.
Well, two Miami Dolphins right off the bat, huh? All right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
My second sell of the show here, I'm going to go with Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers. All right. He is nearing the end of his fantasy prime. All right. He is entering that age 28, right? This is the year, this is the age of running backs where we have to start looking at our rosters closely. I'm in many leagues. And I've had Aaron Jones for many, many years, but I'm starting to consider selling him. There's been a lot of changes at Green Bay, right? Aaron Rodgers is gone. We got, Jordan Love right now under center. And AJ Dillon, I think, is going to get a little bit more run. I mean, I think they're going to
Hmm.
run maybe a little bit more because Jordan Love, I think, with him being there the first year, but they've also added a ton of pass catchers. And I'm concerned that that might also, dig into Aaron Jones's pass receptions. One of the most explosive, running backs out of the backfield in the fantasy game right now. But again, being at that age of 28 and all the changes, this is a guy that I think that I would, kind of look to move off of right now.
I think that's a great call. 28 years old, that's the cliff for a running back. The Packers are probably going to want to run him into the ground this year, knowing that they have AJ Dillon in the back, just kind of waiting. May want to see what they have in AJ Dillon, but why not just go forward and get what you can out of Aaron Jones, because they know they're not going to resign him. Just the way the NFL is valuing the running back position. So I think that's a great call. I've been offered for Aaron Jones for my first round picks a lot. I'm just not going for it. I just don't see the value in doing that
Yeah.
right now. I'm
Like,
contending. I'd rather go for a younger running back if I'm gonna use a first round pick, even if I'm contending, someone who can still deliver me points at the
right.
same time. So yeah, so my last sell is going to be Houston Texans running back Damian Pierce. Now, I know a lot of
Mm,
people are saying, well, why? He's a young running back. He's the guy. One of the things that I've kind of looked at is Damian Pierce came in with not the best profile coming out of college, but that actually helped him because there wasn't a lot of tread on the tires. And I looked at the athletic profile of him. He wasn't the highly athletic guy that you would see coming into the NFL. I think he's one of those guys who's just solid. And opportunity is everything that you're looking for that to produce fantasy points. I'm not sure if his profile will outlast a free agency, a draft class, competition where he's actually going to have to compete for the starting job. Right now, there's nobody on that roster. He has to do, like, he is the guy. I just don't think his athletic profile is the type that's sustainable, and the NFL is devaluing the position. So for me, I just see like a veteran free agent coming in. He's got to compete with, or even the next draft class is pretty deep. The Braylon Allens and the Raheem Sanders, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards,
Hmm.
Travion Henderson. Like that's a pretty deep class. All it takes is one of those guys, and now we're wondering, okay, well, how's this going to work out? We saw the same thing with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. The NFL is not scared to use two running backs. I think Damian Pierce is in a prime position where we can see the solidified role for him this season. I think he gets really muddy after this season, so I'd be willing to move off of him at this point.
Yeah, I think he's going to get the rock. I mean, Singletary's there too, I believe, and I
Yeah.
think he's still gonna get the ball. But there's a lot of people.
Oh,
Your athletic
absolutely.
profile, and what was he, a fifth round draft pick, or sixth
Fourth,
round,
fifth, something like
fourth?
that. Right.
Yeah, day three backs, and as we know that they will move
Right.
off them pretty quickly. So for my third sell, I'm going to stay with the Green Bay Packers. I want to talk about Christian Watson. All right, I'm going to read off some names. Okay, he has got an ADP right now for the 2023 for Fantasy Pros at the 23rd wide receiver being drafted right now. And this is a regression candidate for me. On this channel, Jason and I, we do a lot of scouting films of college players,
Hmm.
right? And Christian Watson was a guy that came in, coming out of North Dakota State, right? That for me, I wasn't a big fan of. But I know he's fast, and I know he had a great season last year. Played with Aaron Rodgers, but now he's got a new quarterback in Jordan Love. And not only that, but they added, I'm reading here, 4 pass catchers. They got Luke Musgrave, Tyler Kraft, Jaden Reed, and Wicks. They were all drafted this year, right? Go figure. They get rid of Rodgers and then they draft a bunch of pass catchers, right? Um,
Right.
but it's kind of crazy. So, I mean, I think he was a focal point. I think Dubes, I think that you say his name, Dobbs or Dubes or
Yeah,
whatever.
Romeo Dobbs or
Yeah,
Dubes. Yeah.
Dobbs. Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to be there as well. So, you got a year one quarterback, basically. You got all these pass catchers added. And I want to read off some names that have a lower ADP than Christian Watson right now at 23. Jerry Jeudy, Drake London, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, Michael Pittman Jr., and Brandon Ayuk. And
Wow.
if I'm looking at that list, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 other guys that I'd rather have on my team than Christian Watson. I think he had a great rookie
Agreed.
season, but people are projecting him, and I think they're still valuing him as this guy that's going to be a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. Given the new landscape with all the new pass catchers and a new quarterback, I think he's going to not, have as good a season last year, and I could see a bit of a regression for the 2023 season. So if you've got him on your team, you know, I'd be trying to move him because I'm not sure if he doesn't live up to the hype of his great, second season, his value this time next year is not going to be close to what it is now. And I think now would be the time to cash out if you're not a true believer in his skill set moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I do think he's more fool's gold. And the ADP push is just basically the fact that right now it's like he's the guy. Had a great end of last
Mm-hmm.
season, but we're hearing great things about, Romeo Dobbs or Dubes, however you say it. And I think Jaden Reed's actually a lot more talented than Watson. I think Watson just has that size speed combo that's really intriguing. So I'd be
Mm-hmm.
moving off of him as well. I think that's a great call.
All right. So there you guys have it. Those are our 6 sells heading into the 2023 season. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, if you're looking for a channel out there that's going to be scouting future Dynasty players and more Dynasty chat, hit that subscribe button. We'd certainly appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everyone.